Last time I discussed the rise and fall of the Star League, I analyzed the Terran hegemony. I also hadn't upgraded my recording equipment, but that's neither here nor there. To fully understand the greatness of the Star League, we have to understand the governments that formed it. Today let's analyze the Draconis Combine. While the Draconis Combine was officially founded in 2319, the real story of its genesis begins with a figure by the name of Shiro Kurita. While many would know Shiro from the borderline racist pictures that are used to depict him, the figure should be more known for his ambition, diplomatic prowess, and military skill. The megalomaniac would go to create a one-world power on his homeworld of New Samarkand. He then negotiated an alliance with Galadin V, a neighboring planet. He would make himself director, effectively the leader, and as director, he placed his family in key positions to ensure his ultimate rule. This included ordering his brother, Urizen, to train and equip a militia on New Samarkand from both his homeworld and Galadin V. His focus would then turn to the creation of what effectively was a merchant's navy. He did this through several ways, but by most notably attacking and taking the resources from the Ozawa Mercantile Alliance. As his military grew, the Alliance of Galadin assaulted the nearby world Sverdlovsk. The planet had resisted becoming a part of the Alliance, but apparently didn't have a military and was easily invaded. Cause having no military but trying to resist being ruled by someone else just always works out. After crushing the planet under his boot heel, Shiro threatened that other planets that dared to resist the Alliance would befall similar fates. However, rather than just relying on military might, Shiro also used diplomacy and paranoia to talk other planetary governments into the Alliance. He advised them that their enemies were planning an attack and that being a part of the Alliance could defend them. Of course, once these planetary bodies found out that he used the same tactics on the same enemies that he said they should be worried about, rebellions would spring up. Because the Combine ultimately is meant to be a reflection of Japanese culture in some way, and apparently Japanese culture is always depicted as they were in the 1940s, the rebellions would be barbarically put down, because I guess we need that cliche in our fiction. The Alliance continued to spread across the stars through both diplomatic intrigue and military conquest. By 2219, Shiro renamed the Alliance to the Draconis Combine. This due to in large part that the Alliance now bordered the Draconis Rift. The Draconis Combine's borders would continue to spread to the Terran hegemony and Federated Suns. The Combine finally met significant resistance when Kurita commanded the assault upon the Principality of Razelhog. After 37 years of consistent conflict and the replacement of Shiro by his son Tenno and Warlord Urizen being replaced by his son Adam, the Combine declared victory on Razelhog. Though even with this victory, Razelhog continued to be resistant, forcing the Combine to rule the planet brutally. Tenno solidified Japanese tradition as he ensured larger families within the Combine would gain power in a feudal system with districts and prefectures were the norm for the government. These traditions, as of the upload of this video at least, are still in effect within the Combine. Though Tenno's rule was not to last as he committed seppuku in 2376 due to his sister being assassinated, long story, his son Nihonji would take up the throne. Unfortunately, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Nihonji is known as a horrible leader, and in 3 years he would be assassinated as well. His son Robert, okay, well, Robert it is. Anyway, his son Robert would take the throne. Robert plunged the Combine into the Age of War, a conflict between the Free Worlds League and Capellan Confederation. Robert attacked specifically the Lyran Commonwealth. Now, research on this might lead you to believe that the Draconis had come to the aid of the Confederation. However, the more I look at it, the more it seems like the tactics of the Combine appeared to be more for gaining territory than actually choosing a side. Because the Combine wanted to ensure it looked a lot like the Terran hegemony, Robert continued the proud tradition of being brutally murdered and, giving a great example of why dynasties don't work, Nihonji von Rohr, the son of Robert's sister Marika, would lead a coup that would kill the rightful successor, namely Robert's brother. And yes, Nihonji. Reusing the same name is a great idea in fiction. Now with the Combine under the rule of the Von Rohrs, Nihonji would exile all of the descendants of Shiro Kurita, save for a few that were supportive of his role. While ineffective, his reign would still be long-lasting, the dynasty surviving for about 89 years. What I find more curious, though, is that the Draconis Combine had become so powerful with gains in all directions, and up to this point had never had battle mechs. This would change, however, when in 2461 Combine agents stole plans from Steiner and started the mass production of their own mechs. The Lyran Commonwealth, still licking their wounds from barely stopping the Combine at the beginning of the still-raging Age of War, launched an invasion into the Draconis Combine space in an attempt to stop them from using their own mechs. Battle mechs, of course, making the Combine an even larger threat should they come into mass production. The Lyran Commonwealth made large gains, including at the Battle of Nox. However, they wouldn't be able to stop the mass production of Combine mechs and ultimately would be pushed back once the Draconis Combine was able to equip its military with battle mechs. As discussed, the Von Rohrs dynasty was brought to a brutal and violent end in 2510 when Martin McAllister, secretly a Kuroto, assassinated everyone in the palace, thus restoring House Kuroto itself. The Age of War would come to an end shortly after this, and ironically, it had started with the Von Rohr dynasty and ended with the restoration of the Kuroto dynasty. Intriguingly, the coup wasn't opposed as Nihonji was so concerned and fearful of reprisal that many didn't know what the director looked like, nor how the directorship operated at this time. While I bet those still here couldn't have guessed it, Martin would be assassinated and his daughter, Sirowin McAllister Kurita, is made brevet coordinator as a true director had to be male. She married Warren Kurita. Of course, while Warren was technically now the director, he would rely heavily on his wife, with a lot of the important matters being filtered through her. When she had a son, and the son was made heir, her attentions turned from her husband to the baby. Her husband would mysteriously die soon after that, and she didn't remarry. Hihiro Kurita would not become director until 40, his mother staying regent during all this time. Sources are inconsistent on the next piece of lore. While some seem to indicate that his mother was a manipulative woman that only wanted power, others state that Hihiro had fathered a son, Martin, and didn't want to take over until his son turned 20. Whatever the case, this seemed to work out quite well as Hihiro was a brilliant orator and diplomat, while his mother was an exceptional leader, if you remove the fact that she married a weak-willed man and probably killed him. Hihiro would bring the Combine into the fold of the Star League, Draconis being the last Intersphere power to join. Unfortunately, this would be where the problems for the Combine would ultimately begin. Stay tuned as we discuss the Combine's role in the Star League and the Succession Wars. All four of them.